More than 60 people in Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh have been killed after being struck by lightning. Despite tech advancements, lightning strikes remain the most common reason for deaths by forces of nature. The high number of fatalities happen due to people standing under isolated tall trees. Here's a look.
These images of lightning may look stunning, but in reality, as you probably already know, they can be very deadly. People across North India were expecting relief from scorching heat with the onset of the monsoon. But states like Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh have experienced lightning strikes with very little rain, leading to a staggering nearly 70 deaths and counting. In Uttar Pradesh alone, 41 deaths were reported, with 14 fatalities from Prayagraj alone.
ये आकाशीय बिजली से 2 लोगों की मृत्यु हो चुकी है।
किस गांव में घटना हुई है?
ये नगला उमर के पास में हुई है, उनके अपने खेत के पास थी वो। खेत पे ही।
More than 41 deaths have already been reported in Uttar Pradesh. The government of UP is on high alert, and CM Yogi Adityanath has given clear instruction to send the relief and at the same time the compensation to the families.
In Rajasthan, 20 people have died after being struck by lightning in several areas. Several people have died at the iconic Amer Fort, where they'd gathered to enjoy the good weather.
Sunday marked the onset of monsoons in Rajasthan, and to soak in the sights and scenes, these people had gathered out here when the rains became heavy and sky lightning struck, and in that 11 people lost their lives and more than 10 people were injured.
Prime Minister Modi has expressed his condolences to the families of the deceased. In a series of tweets, the Prime Minister said that 2 lakh rupees will be given to the families of those who were killed and 50,000 to those injured. In the monsoons, it's important for all of us to be cautious. Avoid being outdoors if the weather seems hostile. Do not take shelter under a tree. Avoid being at high altitude if possible. Do not lie down flat on the ground. Avoid fences and wires. Stay away from objects that conduct electricity. The monsoon in North India is often accompanied by thunderstorms. Lightning strikes claim lives every year in states like UP and Rajasthan as people venture out to enjoy the weather, unmindful of the danger to their lives. With Abhishek Mishra and Devankur Vadhavan, Bureau Report, India Today.
My colleague Shivarur explains the different ways lightning can affect you and what are the do's and don'ts to follow when lightning strikes. Here's a look.
How lightning may actually kill you. There are actually 4 different ways that lightning can injure or kill a person. 4 ways. First is called a direct strike. In this particular instance, it's pretty rare. Lightning hits the person directly. The current moves across the person's skin and through their body, causing massive internal damage to their organs and, of course, a cardiac arrest. But this is pretty rare. Lightning actually striking a person directly is pretty rare. The second is a side flash. This is much more common and is, in fact, the case in which many of the people we're talking about actually died, where the lightning hits a taller object and then a part of that lightning jumps to the smaller object below. For instance, as you can see in that image, lightning hitting a tree and then jumping to the people taking shelter below. A vast number of lightning injuries and deaths are caused by this thing called the side flash. Number 3 is something called ground current, where the lightning hits an object and then the current is conducted through the ground and passes into the person nearby. This very often doesn't cause death, but can cause very, very serious injury. Also quite common, especially if there is water in that area or any kind of metallic substance in the ground. And finally is conduction. Conduction is the 4th process by which a person can be injured or killed in lightning. This is where lightning hits something like a fence or a railing or a banister in a balcony. Current passes obviously through the metal, hits the person, and that's how they are injured or they lose their lives. Now, there are very, very important do's and don'ts which bear repeating because the monsoon is upon us with 70 people dead, I don't want to risk it. I want to give you this information so you have it. When thunder roars, go indoors is a famous old saying, and it is very, very true. Never ever shelter, ladies and gentlemen, under an isolated tree. When it starts raining, do not go under a tree. Try and go indoors if you can. If you're at a high altitude in the hills or at a peak or on a ridge somewhere, try and go to a lower altitude area. It's sometimes difficult, easier said than done, but try and do that. Get away from bodies of water. Don't even think about venturing into any pond or river when it is raining or when there is a thunderstorm. Never venture into